Bulgy is a double-decker bus. He's been working on the Northwestern Railway for many years. He is a great service to many friends on the railway and is the cousin to Bertie. While he is a very hard-working bus, he can be very boastful at times. This often gets the engines very annoyed. But despite his boastfulness, he does work hard and has proven to be really useful ever since Tomanet brought him back in service. But he does have his moments where he can be boastful. This is one of them. One day, Bulgy was waiting at the station as he was waiting for Duck to collect Duck's passengers and take them home. He was waiting patiently for Duck to arrive. At last, Duck arrived. "Oh, I'm sorry, Bulgy. I'm sorry I'm late. But there was a track maintenance going on between Nafford and to the Little Western. I had to take the long route around. I'm really sorry." "Well, it's lucky for you I'm a guaranteed connection. You know what they should do? Scrap the railway and free the roads." "Oh, sorry, Duck. I can't stop. Gotta go. Bye now. Free the roads." "Oh, that bus really does get on my nerves sometimes. I really wish he would stop saying that."
"I know what you mean, Duck,"
said a voice as Oliver steamed in from the other side.
"He's been doing this for years, ever since Sir Tomanet brought him back into service. He should know that it's got nothing to do with railways or roads. It has to do with timetable changes. The roads do have their problems too, you know."
"Yes, I know about that. The roads ain't perfect either. Nothing is perfect in this world."
"Well, he's just too stubborn to understand it, Duck. But don't worry, I'm sure he'll get his comings in the end."
And I'm sorry to say Oliver was right. "Free the roads!" said Bulgy as he was speeding down a street zone, a 50-kilometer street zone, until... "Pull over!" said a policeman, and Bulgy had to stop. Bulgy knew that he made the biggest mistake ever and was regret it. That evening at the bus port, the manager had severe words to Bulgy. "Bulgy, what on earth do you think you were doing? Travelling at 72 kilometres on a 50-kilometre street zone. Because of this, what happened? Not only did you get a speeding fine, but your driver's got his driver's license confiscated for 3 months. I hope you're happy for what you've done. For the 3 months, you can stay in the shed and think about what you've done." Bulgy felt rather ashamed and embarrassed. He didn't say anything back, as he was too ashamed of what he'd done. Bertie had pity for him, as he was his cousin, but he knew that Bulgy had done wrong. After the 3 months had finished, Bulgy was back at work, but he was still worried. His driver may never get to be a bus driver ever again. "Oh, why did I let this happen? My driver could lose his bus license because of what I've done."
"Well, stop that nonsense," said Henry. "You knew this was going to happen. All because of your anti-hate for the railways. You know the roads ain't perfect too, but you deny it. Bulgy, you are a 60-year-old bus, so do yourself a favour, start acting your age and start growing up."
Bulgy didn't say anything back to Henry, but he listened to Henry's voice very clearly. And then he plucked up courage and spoke to him. "I guess you're right, Henry. I should learn that nothing in the world is perfect. The roads do have their problems too."
That's a good bus. See, you can learn from your mistakes. It's all about being maturing, about maturing, Bulgy. Don't worry. If you do something good in return, maybe the police might let your driver keep his bus driver license. Oh, sorry I can't stop. Bulgy, I've got a passenger train to run. See ya,
as Henry puffed off into the distance. Bulgy felt a little bit better, but he was still worried what might happen to his driver. That afternoon, Bulgy was dropping off passengers for Donald, as Donald was taking his passengers to the other side of the railway. It was a long trip, but they didn't mind. At last, they all boarded Donald's train. The guard blew his whistle and Donald set off. Bulgy was having a long nap as he was resting in the yards. Then suddenly, he heard a strange revving sound. Two men in a pizza delivery panel van revved past as they skidded around the corner and down the roads.
What happened there?
Said Bulgy to his driver. Oh, I just saw that on my phone. There's been a burglary at the banks. They've been stealing money. And the police says they can't get there as there's a road blockage to the short destination.
I think we can catch them, driver.
I can catch up to them even in their steam. Bulgy started his engine and revved off. He chased after the thieves. Bulgy's engine was starting to get a little bit hot, but he did not care. He wanted to stop the thieves from stealing the money from the bank. At last he reached the level crossing, but then suddenly Bulgy's engine had overheated. Blast, said the driver. Your engine's overheated, Bulgy. Oh, don't worry. I can block them through this is only a little level crossing. And indeed, Bulgy was right. The two thieves sped along the road at 200 kilometers an hour. Ha-ha, we'll get away. We'll be the most billionaires in the world. But then suddenly they saw Bulgy at the level crossing. Oh, shit! They cried. They tried to apply the brakes, but the brakes had failed. It was too late. They crashed into Bulgy. This is all your fault. My fault. You told me to go steal the money at the Soda West Bank. Well, you should have picked a better getaway vehicle and picked a different route. Ah, blah, 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 blah. Oh, shut up. It's both your fault, said Bulgy. After the wreckage had been cleared, Sir Toppinette and the policeman came along with Edward and Terence to help clear away the wreckage. The two men were boarded into a police van, and the police inspected to see if Bulgy's driver was injured or not. Sir Toppinette had words to Bulgy. Bulgy, whilst speeding I do not approve of speeding on the roads, but what your driver told me, what you did was very brave. You were able to stop a thief from stealing money from the Soda West Bank. And the police have said that they have allowed your driver to keep his bus driver license after this heroic deed. While you can still be boastful at times, this is the most bravest thing you've done. But you do need to go to the garage to be mended. After the crash, said Sir Toppinette. Thank you, sir. Henry is right. It's better to be more mature than being stuck having Peter Pan syndrome, said as smiled Bulgy. After Bulgy came back from the garage mended, Bulgy was a lot more mature and had more respect for the railway and the engines. While he was still a little bit boastful at times, the engines would still remind him that to act his age. Bulgy is a lot more better now and a lot more mature. And even to this day, he was regarded by a hero by not only the engines but also off-rail vehicles on Sodor and the people that lived on the island.